Chapter 36. Not Again My Heart. How many syllables is total hopelessness? Even in my weakened condition, you'd think I would be able to stay out of reach of a blind opponent. You'd be wrong. Commodius was only 10 yards away when I shot my next arrow at him. Somehow he dodged it, rushed in, and yanked the bow out of my hands. He broke the weapon over his knee. "Rude!" I yelled. In retrospect, that was not the way I should have spent that millisecond. Commodius punched me square in the chest. I staggered backwards and collapsed on my butt, my lungs on fire, my sternum throbbing. A hit like that should have killed me. I wondered if my godly strength had decided to make a cameo appearance. If so, I squandered the opportunity to strike back. I was too busy crawling away, crying in pain. Commodius laughed, turning to his troops. "You see, he was always the one whimpering." His fellows cheered. Commodius wasted valuable time basking in their adulation. He couldn't help being a showman. He also must have known I wasn't going anywhere. I glanced at Frank. He and Caligula circled each other, occasionally trading blows, testing each other's defenses. With the arrowheads in his shoulder, Frank had no choice but to favor his left side. He moved stiffly, leaving a trail of bloody footprints on the asphalt that reminded me, quite inappropriately, of ballroom dancing diaphragm Fred Astaire had once given me. Caligula prowled around him, supremely confident. He wore the same self-satisfied smile he had when he impaled Jason Grace in the back. For weeks I had nightmares about that smile. I shook myself out of my stupor. I was supposed to be doing something, not dying. Yes, that was the top of my to-do list. I managed to get up. I fumbled for my sword, then remembered I didn't have one. My only weapon now was my ukulele. Playing a song for an enemy who was hunting me by the sound did not seem like the wisest move. But I grabbed my uke by the fretboard. Commodius must have heard the strings twang. He turned and drew his sword. For a big man in blinged-out armor, he moved much too fast. Before I could even decide which Dean Martin number to play for him, he jabbed at me, nearly opening up my belly. The point of his blade sparked against the bronze body of the ukulele. With both hands, he raised his sword overhead to cleave me in two. I lunged forward and poked him in the gut with my instrument. Ha ha! There were two problems with this. One, his gut was covered in armor, and two, the ukulele had a rounded bottom. I made a mental note that if I survived this battle, I would design a version with spikes at the base, and perhaps a flamethrower, the Gene Simmons ukulele. Commodius' counterstrike would have killed me if he hadn't been laughing so hard. I leapt aside as his sword hurled down, sinking into a spot where I had been standing. One good thing about battling on a highway, all those explosions and lightning strikes had made the asphalt soft. While Commodius tried to tug his sword free, I charged and slammed into him. To my surprise, I actually managed to shove him off balance. He stumbled and landed on his armor-plated rear, leaving his sword quivering in the pavement. Nobody in the Emperor's army cheered for me. Tough crowd. I took a step back, trying to catch my breath. Someone pressed against my back. I yelped, terrified that Caligula was about to spear me, but it was only Frank. Caligula stood about 20 feet away from him, cursing as he wiped bits of gravel out of his eyes. "Remember what I said," Frank told me. "Why are you doing this?" I wheezed. "It's the only way. If we're lucky, we're buying time." "Buying time?" "For godly help to arrive. That's still happening, right?" I gulped. "Maybe." "Oh, Apollo, please tell me you did the summoning ritual." "I did!"